When someone leaves your life, it feels like the ground has opened beneath you. Everything you counted on, affection, validation, the future you pictured, vanishes in an instant. It's brutal. But the Stoics taught us that the only thing they can take from you is what you allow them to your thoughts. In this moment of loss, you hold the ultimate power, the power to choose how you narrate your own story, embracing the end as a beginning. In Stoicism, every ending is also a beginning. Marcus Aurelius, heir to the greatest empire on earth, lost loved ones, faced betrayals, and saw empires crumble. He wrote in his journal that loss is part of the tapestry of life, uncomfortable, yes, but inevitable. As you step into the aftermath of your breakup, don't cling to what's gone. Instead, see your freedom. Freedom from compromise, freedom from anxiety about the future you shared, freedom to redefine your path on your own terms. Imagine the breakup as a battlefield. The battlefield is chaotic, painful, even humiliating at times. Yet the Stoic warrior stands firm in the midst of it. His armor is not steel, but his mindset. He does not deny the sting of a sword. He absorbs the blow, feels the pain, then uses every ounce of that energy to sharpen his will. That is your prescription right now. Feel the loss fully and without shame. Then channel that raw force into rebuilding your inner citadel. Control your inner narrative. At the heart of the Stoic breakup mindset is a single transformative principle. Your perception of events determines their impact on you. It isn't the end of a relationship that destroys you. It's the story you tell yourself about that end. If you frame it as, "I was rejected, therefore I am unworthy," you hand away your power and sink into bitterness. Instead, decide now, "This relationship ended, therefore I am free to build something better." This decision happens in an instant, one deliberate thought that reroutes your entire emotional trajectory. In the heartbeat after you hear the words, "It's over," catch the impulse to spiral and replace it with a Stoic affirmation. "I choose my response." Anchor that choice with a single deep breath. Feel the air fill your lungs. Feel your center solidify. That breath is your moment of sovereignty, the pivot from victimhood to agency. The power of reframing. Reframing is the art of giving new meaning to events. Epictetus, once a slave, taught that circumstances aren't our masters, our beliefs about circumstances are. When someone hurts you, you have two options: react in anguish or observe the pain and ask, "What can I learn?" Each tear, each pang of jealousy or regret becomes a messenger whispering clues about your values, what you truly sought from the relationship, what needs went unmet, and what boundaries were crossed. Treat these emotions as data, not demons. Chart their course through your mind, map their triggers, and use their revelations to rebuild stronger boundaries and clearer intentions. Consider writing a short letter, not to send, but to purge your mind of raw emotion. Describe what happened, how it hurt, and then close with, "This is my truth. From this truth I choose to grow." That letter is not therapy, it is strategy. It converts heartache into a blueprint for personal evolution. Negative visualization. Fortifying your resolve. The Stoics practiced premeditatio malorum, imagining loss before it arrives to inoculate their minds against shock. Right now you've experienced loss firsthand, but you can harness this moment to build resilience for every future setback. Spend a few minutes each day visualizing the life you want. See yourself succeeding in your career, thriving in new relationships, stronger and wiser than before. Then, imagine the obstacles that might arise: self-doubt, fear of loneliness, unexpected challenges. Face each obstacle in your mind and declare, "I can endure this and rise above." This ritual doesn't invite pessimism. It supercharges your gratitude for what remains and steels you for what's to come. Daily ritual. Anchoring your strength, your Stoic breakup mindset isn't a one-off choice, it's a daily practice. Begin each morning in quiet reflection. Before the world demands your attention, sit with your breath. Acknowledge yesterday's pain without clinging to it. Remind yourself, "I am the author of my life." Visualize one small victory for the day: a workout completed, a project advanced, a new connection made. This anchors your mind in progress, rather than pain. Throughout the day, when a memory or notification threatens to pull you back into sorrow, pause and recenter. A simple 5-second anchor, feeling your feet on the ground, your spine erect. Your mind present reclaims your focus. The breakup no longer writes your story. You do. Move through the world post-breakup. Notice how this mindset transforms every interaction. You walk taller because your value no longer depends on someone else's approval. You speak with calm authority because you recognize the impermanence of all things, including praise and criticism. You greet new opportunities not with fear of rejection, but with curiosity about growth. She may indeed regret losing you, but by the time that regret settles in her heart, you will have already sculpted a life of purpose, resilience, and self-mastery, guided by the Stoic principles that turn heartbreak into your greatest weapon. From the moment you decide that loss is not a coffin nail but a crucible, your heartbreak becomes your greatest teacher. The Stoics called this practice negative visualization, a deliberate immersion into imagined adversity, so that when real hardship arrives, you meet it with calm resolve instead of panic. You have already felt the raw sting of a breakup. Now translate that pain into unbreakable mental armor. Begin each evening in solitude. Find a quiet corner, perhaps by a window, where the last light of day filters through dust motes in the air. Close your eyes and summon the image of the relationship you lost. Feel the hollow ache in your chest, the heaviness of betrayal or disappointment. Let those sensations swirl without resistance. Then push further. Imagine every domain of your life undone. Picture your career derailing, your finances evaporating, your closest friendships dissolving. Lean into that darkest vision until your mind trembles at the thought. This is not indulgence in misery. It is confrontation with the worst, so that the worst cannot surprise you. When the dread peaks, allow the image to fade, and as it does, awaken a fierce contrast. You still possess your breath, your thoughts, your capacity to choose. In this shift from nightmare to reality, gratitude ignites like a spark in dry tinder. You realize that nothing external can rob you of your essential self unless you permit it. That electric jolt of appreciation rewires your brain. The same pain that once shattered you now becomes a catalyst for strength. Carry this fortified mindset into your dawn ritual. Before sunlight edges over the horizon, sit upright on the edge of your bed, no pillows, no screens. Feel the firmness of the mattress beneath you, the coolness of the air on your skin. Close your eyes and reflect on the previous night's vision. Recall one moment of gratitude, the warmth of a shower, the taste of simple bread, the clarity of a quiet mind. Speak softly to yourself. I am here. I am unbroken. I am the architect of my response. Let these words settle like bedrock beneath your ribs. Next, reach for a simple notebook on your bedside table. In a single sentence, no more write. Today I will act with courage, clarity, and purpose. Resist the urge to elaborate. This brevity sharpens focus. One sentence is a battle cry, not a novel. Close the notebook and rise. You have just claimed the day before it claimed you. As you move through your morning, every external irritant becomes a test of your resolve. When the traffic grinds to a crawl, feel the rising heat of impatience and remember the dark vision you faced last night. The honking horns become background noise for your unwavering calm. When an email arrives with harsh words, notice the flicker of hurt and recenter on that sentence you wrote. You respond not from a place of wounded pride, but from one of deliberate strength. This daily rhythm nightly visualization followed by morning affirmation compounds over weeks. You begin to notice subtle shifts. A critical comment no longer pierces your self-worth. A cancelled plan no longer upends your peace. You breathe through discomfort rather than recoiling from it. Each small victory cements your belief that you control only your judgments and actions, and in that control lies your true power. History provides abundant testament to this transformation. Seneca, exiled to a remote corner of the empire, endured the loss of status and security with grace. He described his method in letters back to Rome. By picturing himself stripped of every possession, He found that each deprivation only deepened his gratitude for what remained and sharpened his inner freedom. Epictetus, once a slave whose chains cut his flesh, taught that true servitude lies not in shackles, but in the mind's bondage to fear. He trained his students to rehearse every insult, every hardship, and to meet it with equanimity. Even Marcus Aurelius, facing orbital conspiracies and barbarian invasions, credited his morning meditations and reflections on impermanence for his steady hand in directing the greatest empire of his time. Modern psychology echoes these ancient insights. Viktor Frankl, a psychiatrist who endured the horrors of a concentration camp, wrote of the necessity of imagining a future beyond suffering to survive the present nightmare. His experience confirms that negative visualization, when followed by an embrace of gratitude for what persists, can kindle purpose even in the bleakest circumstances. To deepen your practice, extend these exercises into action. Once a week, impose a small, voluntary hardship. Sleep on the floor, skip a meal, or walk your commute without your phone. These self-imposed trials teach your body and mind that discomfort is not a catastrophe but a training ground. You learn that your will is stronger than craving, that your spirit does not break when you refuse to pamper it. By integrating negative visualization, morning affirmation, and voluntary discomfort, you create a trifecta of resilience. Loss becomes your professor rather than your tormentor. Anxiety morphs into anticipation, and every dawn greets you not as a victim of yesterday's past, but as the commander of your unfolding future. Number 3, mastering your emotions. After heartbreak, by now, you've steeled your mind against shock and built a daily fortress of gratitude. Yet the echoes of heartbreak can still reverberate. Anger surges at a memory. Doubt creeps in like a slow, poisoned fear whispers that you'll never trust again. The Stoics taught that true mastery arises not from avoiding these waves, but from learning to surf them. Every emotion, even the most violent, can propel you forward when you understand its nature and harness its energy. Begin by acknowledging that emotions are neither good nor bad in themselves. They are signals from your inner world. When anger flares after a painful reminder, perhaps seeing a message from an ex or witnessing a shared habit you once loved, recognize the heat in your chest and the tension in your hands. Sit with that discomfort. Do not judge it, do not chase it away. Instead, observe it as a scientist recording data. Ask yourself silently, what boundary is this anger defending? With clarity, free from accusation, you reveal the values it protects: respect, honesty, self-worth. Once you identify the value, you gain the choice to honor it by either speaking up calmly or letting go gracefully. Similarly, fear of new vulnerability can grip you, whispering that no one will love you as deeply or that you will open old wounds by trusting again. When this fear arises, feel its cold fingers tracing down your spine. Name it. This is fear of abandonment. Then turn inward and remind yourself of past victories. Every time you faced rejection, at work, in friendship, in love, and rose again. Your history is proof that fear has never had the final word. Use that proof as a shield. Let the memory of your resilience speak louder than the voice of dread. Doubt too can undermine your progress, whispering that your Stoic practices are merely numb defenses rather than true healing. When doubt surfaces, treat it as a teacher pointing to where your confidence still needs reinforcement. Pause and take a slow breath. Feel the rise and fall of your chest. In that single breath, remind yourself, you have practiced negative visualization and morning affirmation. You have faced voluntary discomfort. You have stood firm when your world trembled. Doubt may question, but your actions have already answered. To deepen this emotional mastery, embrace voluntary discomfort in the realm of feeling itself. Pick one emotion that still unsettles you, perhaps sadness, perhaps longing, and intentionally revisit it under controlled conditions. Write a short scene in your journal. Describe the moment, the words spoken, the sensations in your body. Let the sadness wash over you on the page, then conclude with a declaration of growth. This pain taught me to value my own strength. By voluntarily re-experiencing and reframing the emotion, you desensitize its sting and reclaim its energy as fuel for your purpose. Journaling is the Stoics' scalpel for dissecting emotion. Each evening, carve out a page of raw truth, the triggers you encountered, the feelings they unleashed, and the responses you practiced. Avoid moralizing. Do not judge yourself for feeling anger or fear. Instead, chart a course of self-discovery. Note the thought or story that sparked the emotion. Then follow its thread to the root belief hidden beneath. Perhaps you find that shame underlies your anger, shame at perceived failure, or that a belief in unworthiness underlies your fear. When you uncover these beliefs, you shine a light on the architecture of your suffering. In the margin, write a corrective affirmation, one sentence firm and precise that acknowledges reality while pointing you toward strength. I am worthy of respect because I act with integrity. Throughout the day, carry this journal practice into micro moments. When a pang of anxiety strikes in a crowded room, mentally note it and recall the corrective affirmation. When irritation flares in traffic, reframe it. This moment tests my calm. I choose patience. Over time, these tiny acts of self-observation and reframing accumulate, rewiring your default responses. The raw reflexive reactions that once defined you give way to deliberate choices anchored in Stoic wisdom. Engage your body in this emotional transformation through voluntary hardship in small doses. Cold showers remain an ally not only for building physical toughness, but for teaching you to meet shock with composure. The initial gasp of icy water triggers the same fight-or-flight response as fear. Each time you resist the urge to flee the cold, you strengthen your capacity to stay present amid emotional turmoil. The next time you confront a painful memory, recall the cold shower. You can endure intense, uncomfortable sensations and emerge centered. As you master the ebb and flow of anger, fear, and sadness, you'll discover a burgeoning sense of freedom. Emotions no longer hijack your decisions. They become guides that inform your choices with vibrant clarity. You are no longer at the mercy of mood swings or the tyranny of traumatic memories. Instead, you've crafted a dynamic partnership between emotion and reason, a dance in which impulse inspires and wisdom directs. This emotional mastery radiates into your relationships and endeavors. You speak with measured passion rather than reactive fury. You listen without defensiveness, turning conflict into dialogue rather than disaster. You pursue goals with unwavering focus, unshaken by the fear of failure or the lure of fleeting pleasure. Your heartbreak becomes the crucible in which your best self is forged. From the moment you learn to master your inner world, the greatest test is whether the outer world respects that mastery. True Stoic strength is not only about withstanding chaos, it's about compelling respect without raising your voice. In this part, we'll forge your social armor, the art of commanding authority and setting unbreakable boundaries with calm precision. Think of a chariot gliding through a storm, unhindered, its wheels gripping the mud. That is how you move through conversations and conflicts when you command respect, steady, unwavering, purposeful. The world will batter you with questions, demands, and insults. Your response will determine whether you remain a passenger or become the driver. First, embrace the power of silence. The loudest person in the room often appears the weakest, desperate for attention. A Stoic uses silence like a blade, sharp, precise, and decisive. When someone tries to provoke or interrupt you, simply close your lips and maintain steady eye contact. Let the seconds stretch. Your silence becomes a spotlight on their words, forcing them to confront their own absurdity. In that pregnant pause, you seize control of the interaction. Seneca wrote that speech is silver but silence is golden. He advised his friend Lucilius to listen more than he spoke, because only by listening can you truly understand the motives and weaknesses of others. Next time a colleague cuts you off, resist the urge to fire back. Breathe, let their echo fade. Then speak only once you have full command of your mind and their attention. Second, speak with measured authority. When you do choose words, let each one carry weight. Marcus Aurelius, addressing his generals, never wasted syllables. He delivered mandates in clear, concise statements that left no room for misunderstanding. "Advance to the river by dawn," he might say, and his officers obeyed, not because they feared him, but because they trusted his clarity and vision. In your world, clear directives earn respect. If a coworker repeatedly pushes deadlines, pause before replying. Say, "I will complete my portion by Friday at noon. After that, we cannot proceed." No hesitation, no apology, just fact-based clarity. Watch how people shift their tone when they realize you are not a doormat but a dependable force. Third, cultivate the courage to say no. Boundary setting is the crucible of respect. Epictetus, born a slave, refused to comply with cruelty, even when disobedience risked his very life. He maintained that while he could not control his master's actions, he could control his own consent. He chose virtue over submission. You may not face flogging for refusing unreasonable requests, but the principle holds. Every time you sacrifice your values for someone's convenience, you teach them you have none. When asked to stay late on a project that violates your priorities, decline firmly. "I understand the urgency, but I cannot compromise the deadline for my other commitments. Let's find a solution within business hours." That simple line shifts the dynamic. You signal that your time and integrity are non-negotiable. Fourth, leverage absence as a boundary. A Stoic does not flinch from walking away. When a conversation turns toxic or a relationship becomes draining, the strongest response is often departure. Cato the Younger famously walked out of the Senate when corruption reigned, refusing to legitimize injustice with his presence. His silence spoke louder than any speech. In your daily life, practice this by pausing interactions that erode your composure. If a friend scorns your beliefs, politely exit the conversation. If a manager berates you unfairly, excuse yourself to gather facts. In both cases, your absence communicates that you will not tolerate disrespect, and it preserves your dignity. Fifth, embody unshakable calm through posture and presence. Your body language is the front line of respect. A slumped stance invites domination. Upright posture commands deference. The Stoics trained their bodies as well as their minds. Think of statues with squared shoulders and lifted chins, unbowed by time or tempest. Walk into a room as if you already own it. Let your shoulders roll back, chest open, eyes forward. Each step should land with purpose. When you stand tall, your presence alone warns would-be aggressors that you are not to be trifled with. Your calm radiates authority. Sixth, use questions strategically. A Stoic warrior doesn't simply react, he probes. When someone challenges you, respond with a question that redirects the burden back to them. If a peer says, "Why didn't you finish this sooner?" reply, "What timeline did you have in mind?" You shift the conversation from accusation to collaboration. You no longer defend yourself, you guide the dialogue towards solutions. Finally, anchor every boundary in your core values. The Stoics lived by virtue, wisdom, courage, justice, temperance, so each action was a reflection of their ethical compass. When your boundaries align with your values, you need no further justification. A refusal becomes an affirmation of your integrity. Now, integrate these principles into a daily exercise. At the end of each day, recall one interaction where you felt your boundaries tested. Reflect in your journal. How did you respond? Did you use silence? Did you speak clearly? Did you walk away when needed? Note what worked and what you can refine. Over time, these reflections become the blueprint for mastering every social arena. In the coming days, you will see the world shift in subtle yet profound ways. People will lean in when you speak. They will hesitate before imposing on you. They will come to you for leadership, knowing you stand not on ego, but on unshakable principle. Number 5. Building your unstoppable future. You have mastered loss, fortified your mind, tamed your emotions, and commanded respect. Now it's time to seize tomorrow with deliberate purpose. The Stoic warrior doesn't merely endure life, he sculpts it. In this final chapter, you will learn how to forge a vision that aligns with your deepest values, build daily rituals that sustain unbreakable momentum, and commit to a path so clear that nothing can divert you from greatness. Begin by illuminating your North Star. Stoicism teaches that the good life is living in accordance with virtue, wisdom, courage, justice, and temperance. Translate these timeless ideals into a personal mission statement. In a single sentence, capture who you choose to become and what you stand for. It might read, "I live to cultivate wisdom through constant learning, to exercise courage in all challenges, to serve others with integrity, and to practice self-discipline in every action." This is not a hollow slogan. It is your soul's blueprint. Post it where you can see it each morning, on your mirror, your journal's first page, your phone's lock screen. Let it anchor your decisions before the world has a chance to sway you. Next, design quarterly milestones that embody this mission. Break the year into 3-month arcs, each with one overarching goal tied to a single Stoic principle. For example, during the first quarter, you may choose "strengthen my wisdom" and commit to reading, reflecting on, and applying one Stoic text per week. In the second quarter, you might focus on courage. Each month, you will tackle one voluntary hardship, a solo wilderness trek, a public speaking engagement, or cold water immersion, documenting your growth in writing and video. In the third quarter, you could dedicate yourself to justice and service by volunteering consistently or mentoring someone through life's crises. Temperance can define the fourth quarter, with commitments to digital minimalism, dietary restraint, or a strict sleep schedule. Each milestone must be measurable. At the end of every week, record your progress. How many pages you read and journaled on, how each uncomfortable challenge felt, and what insight it revealed, how many hours you served or mentored. This practice transforms vague resolutions into clear evidence of growth, and evidence is the Stoics' currency. Now anchor your daily life in mini-rituals that draw energy from these larger arcs. Your morning stillness, already established, becomes the calm harbor from which you launch each day. Reinforce it with a 2-minute visualization of your quarterly goal achieved. Imagine the clarity of mind you'll feel after reading a profound passage, the surge of pride when you emerge from that hardship stronger, the fulfillment of guiding another to resilience. Let that vision fill you with anticipation, then step into action. Throughout the day, intercept drift and distraction with Stoic check-ins. Set a simple timer to buzz every 2 hours. When it does, pause, feel your posture, notice your breath, recall your mission statement. Ask yourself, am I acting in alignment with my virtue? If the answer is yes, hold that feeling. If not, choose a small corrective step. Send a supportive message to a colleague, close a distracting tab, take 3 intentional breaths. These micro-adjustments accumulate invisibly yet powerfully, keeping your life on course. In the evening, return to your journal not only to record setbacks and lessons, as you have done, but to celebrate victories. Gratitude is the Stoic's secret to unbreakable will. List 3 moments when you lived up to your mission today. Perhaps you spoke truth in a difficult conversation, endured discomfort without complaint, or chose generosity over indifference. By savoring these moments, you wire your brain to seek more of them. To ensure you never grow complacent, incorporate deliberate challenges into your calendar. Once a month, schedule a day of nothing in which you strip away all non-essential comforts. No phone, no entertainment, no social media, just silence, simple tasks, and self-reflection. These stark interludes remind you that you are not defined by luxury but by your inner resources. Finally, embed yourself in a community of fellow Stoic practitioners. Share your progress, your struggles, your insights. Teach what you learn. Stoicism was never meant to be a lone endeavor. When you guide others, you discover new facets of your own understanding. And when you witness someone else's breakthroughs, you gain fresh inspiration for your own path. As this journey unfolds, remember that every setback is material for your growth, and every triumph a stepping stone toward deeper virtue. You will not wake up one day as a perfected ideal. You will become more stoic, more resilient, more alive with each discipline you forge, each hardship you embrace, and each act of service you perform. Now take a moment and seal this commitment. Stand tall, breathe deeply, and say aloud the solo line that began your Stoic quest, your mission statement, believing it with every fiber of your being. This is your life to command. This is your purpose to pursue. This is your future, unstoppable, unwavering, unbreakable. And that's the journey from the depths of loss to the heights of unbreakable purpose. You've learned to face heartbreak head-on, to forge gratitude from pain, to master every surge of emotion, to command respect with silent authority, and to build a future grounded in virtue. Now it's time to make this wisdom your own. Carry these practices into your days and nights. When you wake tomorrow, remember, you are the architect of your response, the captain of your fate, the warrior of your soul. If this video lit a spark in you, share your breakthrough in the comments. Your story could be the catalyst someone else needs. Hit that like button if you're committed to living stoically, and subscribe for more deep dives on ancient philosophy made fiercely practical. Tap the bell so you never miss a practice that turns adversity into advantage. This is more than a breakup survival guide, it's a blueprint for a life of purpose and power. Carry it forward. Teach it to someone who needs it. And remember, storms may come, but your mind is a fortress that cannot be taken. Act wisely and act Stoic.